Okay, so hello and good afternoon to everybody. My name is Matias Miranda, and with my classmate and friend Ignacio Villalobos, we are going to present to you all the film review that we made about Terminator 2. Introduction. First, let's talk about the title. Well, as we already said, and as you can see right here, the title of this film is Terminator 2, The Judgment Day.
And here's the catchy beginning. It's year 2029. The machines have overtaken the world. Most of humans have died. John Connor leads a small resistance with a few survivors left in the world. However, there's a possibility to change this dark destination.
Well, regarding the release date of this film, we can say that it was released first of all in the United States. First of all, it was released on Los Angeles, to be more specific, on July 1st of 1991. Meanwhile, in the rest of the country of United States was released on July 3rd of 1991.
And what about the background info? This movie is the second movie of the Terminator saga. The first one was released in 1984. The executive producer and director of both movies was James Cameron. This movie was the 15th movie with more profits of all the 19th decade movies worldwide.
Yeah, and in addition, this movie is highly recognized for being, even nowadays, one of the best movies in terms of special effects during the majority of the scenes. Also, it is recognized due to the context itself of the movie, with the presence of the characters of T-800 and T-1000. Both are Terminators. Let's remember that this movie has all of these positive critics and feedbacks from the people because it was released on 1991, as we said. That means that it was released 29 years ago.
Here's a little summary of the story. The movie begins with John Connor leading the resistance against the machines in the future. To prevent John to reach this destination and destroy Skynet, this artificial intelligence sends a liquid metal robot to kill John in the past. By his part, the resistance sent a less advanced robot to save John. Together, John and the Terminator must search for John's mother, Sarah, the protagonist of the first movie. She will help them to destroy every evidence of Skynet and the Terminators to save the future. And dialogues. Terminator 2 and all of the saga, in fact, became iconic. And not only because of the futuristic perspective and the killer action, but because of its iconic dialogues. So here we have some of the most iconic dialogues in the film, in which some fans and people still quote and get nostalgic about.
Okay, and in addition, regarding the dialogues, there are some phrases that are very known for all the world. Well, the first phrase that we can see here in the left side of this presentation is the word "hasta la vista, baby." Here we have this phrase that it was told by the Terminator T-800. And yeah, basically, this was an iconic dialogue that we always hear in the streets, even nowadays in 2020.
Another dialogue, iconic, is "I need your clothes, your boots, and your motorcycle." When the Terminator asks someone to pass him his positions, you better respond with the demanded trade or be prepared to die. But the motorcycle gang in Terminator 2, the Judgment Day, failed to understand that, and since the biker gang leader did not follow the demand of the Terminator, and that ends really bad.
Yeah, and finally, regarding these iconic dialogues, we have the phrase of "come with me if you want to live." This phrase is very iconic because it appears in this movie when the Terminator T-800 goes to this kind of a medical center or trauma center in which Sarah Connor was. All right, so basically the Terminator told this phrase to Sarah because the Terminator want to let Sarah escape from him from this mental or trauma center.
And what about the characters? Well, in the characters, we are just going to talk about the most important during the movie. Those are John Connor, obviously, interpreted by Edward Furlong. Then we have Sarah Connor, the mother of John, interpreted by Linda Hamilton. And we have the Terminator, the T-800, interpreted by Arnold Schwarzenegger. And we have the T-1000, interpreted by Robert Patrick. Miles Dyson, interpreted by John Morton. And finally, we have Dr. Peter Silverman, interpreted by Earl Bowen.
All right, so now let's move on to the rising climax. Se me pegó, weón. Espérate. Ahora sí, ahora sí, ahora sí. All right, so now let's move on to the rising climax and climax. Well, John, Sarah, and the Terminator T-800 goes with Miles Dyson to Cybergene to search for the missing parts of the first Terminator sent to kill Sarah Connor on the first movie of Terminator. This is part of the rising climax, and now let's move on to the climax. In this part, we have when the fight that they had in the factory. John, Sarah, and the Terminator T-800 had a fight with the Terminator T-1000 to give an end and destroyed every single evidence of Skynet and the Terminators to save the future. And now let's move on to the use of colors. All right, so James Cameron tends to use a palette of colors, specifically highlighting the electric blue color that you can see in the right side of this presentation on the second picture. All right, in addition, he used some warm colors, like when the Terminator T-800 and John Connor had a sort of trip in the motorcycle, and with the escape of the Terminator T-1000 when he dropped a truck. That was a very iconic scene, by the way.
And what about the camera techniques? This film uses a range of variety and different camera techniques, such as the extreme long shot that we can see in the picture of the helicopter, the mirroring shot, where when the Terminator goes walking in the picture of the right side, and the tracking shot. This is when they are in the motorcycle, among others.
Okay, so now let's talk about the tone and symbols. Well, basically the movie has a quite serious tones, right? Notwithstanding, it changed the tone sometimes depending on the mood of the story and characters. In determinate moments, regarding and all around this movie. And regarding symbols, we got and we found the symbol of Harley Davidson, that it's a motorcycle brand, and also it is an iconic brand because it appears in the majority of the movie when the Terminator T-800 drove one of them.
What about our opinions? Okay, in our opinion, we basically found this movie awesome. That's one of the reasons why we decided to use it as our chosen movie for this review. In addition, we also found this movie very incredible, basically because even though this film was released 29 years ago, the special effects of the T1000 and the T800 are awesome. And apart from the special effects, let's remember that the dynamic of this movie is from androids or robots that came from the year 2029. So the story itself is very engaging and awesome.
Okay, and in conclusion, finally, we can say that including all the aspects of this film review, we can realize how good was Terminator 2. And for good, we mean in terms of quality, in terms of performance from all the actors, and also in how the people in general, from the staff and behind the scenes, have performed during this project of this movie of Terminator 2. And also in terms of innovation. Even though we already said many times during this review, this is one of the most important movies because they had very good special effects, and a lot of them, even though the movie was released and created around 29 and 30 years ago, all right? So, as already said, even though it was an old movie, this is a very famous and a very good movie because of all the production behind the scenes. So thank you very much for your attention. And yeah, thank you. Bye bye.